Hi, I've got my fall watercolor kit here and I'm going to unpack it and we're going to paint one of the paintings. So I do have my get started information with a QR code which shows you how to use these watercolor strips, but you're going to see how I use it here. I've got a little piece of paper for a palette. You could use a saucer or just any hard cardboard type paper. And we've got our mixing chart here, which we're going to need because we will be mixing different colors to paint these paintings. I do have quite a few here. I've got 3 different ones, and they are on watercolor paper, and we have the reference photos. So I'm going to set that aside, and I am going to work on this painting, the leaves, the fall leaves in the mason jar. So what I like to do is get some masking tape. I get it at the dollar store, and I'm going to put it on. Once again, this is from the dollar store. It's just poster board that I cut to the size I needed. But you can use any tabletop, and just make sure you tape your watercolor paper down. I'm just going to do 2 sides, but you can do all 4. And then you'll end up with a white line around here, which is perfect for framing your artwork. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at this painting, the reference photo. I've got my fresh water, I have a brush, and I have my little palette and my paint strip. Let's get started. These watercolor strips are really cool. You use them over and over. I've already used these to paint one full painting of a lighthouse, so I'm going to be able to keep using them for this painting. I do give you 2 of them in each package. That's more than enough paint for 3 paintings. Okay, so we are going to start with the leaves, and they are kind of a red and an orange. Now I do have some orange here. Let's take a look at that. Oh, that's gorgeous. So I keep dipping my brush in water, but I don't want too much water. Now as I'm looking at the reference photo, this leaf is pretty dark. So I'm going to put this darker vermilion orange in here for the leaf. And you do have to keep dipping your brush in water. Don't totally soak it too much, but you do need to use water when you paint with watercolor. So I'm liking that. If you notice, I keep picking up more paint from the palette and not the paint strip, because I don't want to waste a lot of paint off of the paint strip. So we go like this. I am going to add a little bit more because I want a little darker. And I think that looks good. I'm going to add some actually right from the paint strip just to make it a little darker around the edge. Okay, now let's do another color. I want to do this lighter color here, this leaf. So I'm going to look at this yellow that I have and see how that looks. Okay, now that's too bright for this painting. So what I need to do is I'm going to get as much of that yellow off of my brush onto there, and I'm going to add a little bit of that vermilion, the orange here. Just take a little, and I'm just going to dab it here and see what we get. Okay, that's pretty. It's a little lighter. Well, not light enough, okay? Let's get a little more of the yellow. And let's add it here. Let's see what we got. There we go. It's a little lighter. If you want it lighter than that, you can add more yellow. So the thing about it is you just keep adding, playing with the colors, see what colors you want. The reference photo is just to give you an idea of what you could paint. It doesn't mean you have to paint it exactly like the reference photo. It's your painting, so do whatever you want. I'm just playing here. Now what I want to do is do some of these red berries. So I want a red, which is this top one. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. Okay, let's do some of the berries. Now I'm not going to paint the whole painting. I just wanted to give you an idea of how to do it. The other thing about watercolor that you should note is you can paint colors right next to each other once it's dry. But what I tend to do is move around my watercolor painting. So like I'll let that dry before I come in and try to do the stems. I'll let this dry before I do that. So I might do this leaf, then I might do that leaf, then I might do that leaf. And then, so you move around the watercolor painting. You don't work in just one area. So if that starts to dry, tiny bit of water on my brush. And I'm just going to do, it's kind of fun. You get a little variation of color. Okay, then we're going to work on the jar. I want to show you that. The jar is transparent, but we need to give it a little bit of color. Now here is a teal color, so it's green with blue. I like that for the Mason's jar. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue on my palette first. That's a very dark blue. Rinse off my brush. And now I got to add a little bit of the green. Now because I put so much blue on here, I'm just going to take a little part of it onto the green and see if I can get a teal. It's still pretty green. Now I need a little more of the blue. It's just a matter of being a mad scientist, and we'll see what we get. Okay, that's pretty good teal. Maybe a little bit more blue. Every time rinse off your brush before you dip into the paint, because you don't want to change the color of the paint on there. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. We're just going to add a little of this teal here around the edge and come around here. And then I need to add some water to it so we really see the color. Okay, I just added water, but I didn't dip it back in to the palette because I don't want it to be really dark. Okay, and it looks like it's a little darker down here and a little darker through here. And then we're going to come in and just kind of use our brush just to give it a little more color, but it's very light. Do you see how it's very transparent? I'm just putting a little bit of color there, so it doesn't look like an outline. And we got to put some through here and around there. So that's pretty much how you would do a transparent jar. Now you will see the color behind it, which if you paint this whole painting, which I wouldn't recommend, you don't really need to do backgrounds, but you can, if you do it, get a bigger brush and paint the background. You would put a little of that background beige color in here. Okay, and as far as doing a brown for the leaves, I believe we have a brown here. So let's just take a little of that brown. Once again, we're putting it on the palette, and that's for the stems. I'm sorry, I said the leaves. And that would be through here. See how I didn't cover those lines because you can't see it because that part of the jar is thicker. And it comes up here. So we're not seeing all of them. Now if you notice, I kind of went over the line a little. That's okay. It's a happy mistake. No one will really notice when they look at your painting. They'll just see how beautiful you painted everything. And we're going to do some leaves. I'm going to add a little of the yellow to it. And then I'm going to add a little of the red to that leaf. I'm going to add some of this color here. So the leaves all turn different colors in the fall. A little bit of red to this one. with some brown. Okay, so this is just giving you an idea of how to use your different colors, how to use the mixing chart. Now it seems dry, but look, if I get in there and pull some of that paint, I still have paint here. And then if I want to add more, I come in and get a little bit more, put it on the palette. Like I said, you can use anything for a palette. I threw in a piece of thick watercolor paper for you to use. You can use a cup saucer, you can use a plate, piece of plastic, whatever you want. The main thing about it is have fun with your watercolor, enjoy the process, and the other thing to remember after you paint your painting, put it aside for a few hours and then come back and look at it. We tend to focus on one thing we don't like. Walk away, come back, look at it, and you're going to be much happier with it. Have fun painting.